Yay! Welcome, Kenz.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to read my little intro.
It's like a school project.
I love it. I love it.
Okay, welcome back to another episode of Bumpers, where we embrace the bumps in the road of life and remind you that no one has their shit together. Today, we have a very special guest who knows all about navigating the highs and lows in the spotlight, Kenzie Ziegler.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you. From her early days on Dance Moms to becoming a successful singer, Kenzie has faced constant comparisons and pressures, not just from the public, but within her own personal life as well. In this episode, we'll dive into the challenges of growing up in the public eye alongside her sister Maddie, the impact of family dynamics, and the inspiration for her touching songs. Let's dive in as Kenz handles standards set by social media, her advice for comparisons, and maybe even a glimpse into her relationships.
Yay!
That was perfect.
That was beautifully written.
Oh, thank you guys. I tried.
Thank you so much for being on. We're so honored.
Oh, I'm so happy to be here with you guys.
I've heard the best things about you, and your energy just feels so great.
Thank you.
It'll be fun to just dive in.
I know.
I'm so excited because I've been watching your guys' episodes.
Oh, really?
Yes. After Zoe's episode, I've just been like watching little clips of it, and it's so
thank
cute.
you.
And it's awesome. I love that you talk about like the struggles that like people go through because it's like not always great, you know?
The things that people don't want to talk about
Totally.
or like ashamed of, and we're just trying to embrace that.
We
Put
also
our
just
ego
want to
aside.
normalize everyone and
Yeah.
humanize that, like, even if you're a celeb, like, you don't have your shit together. And
No.
even if you're a new mom, you don't have your shit together.
Absolutely.
And you just
And there's
got married
things
and
we
moved
can
in.
right, and there's things we can all relate to, and
Yeah.
no matter where we are in our life, like there's that common ground we could always come back to and be like, okay, we're all going through similar things, and I like that. I like finding those commonalities. So
Totally.
thank you.
Thank you.
Coming.
Hit her with the
Okay.
cow question.
So everyone gets hit with these two questions, which are cheesy. But what are you bumping into your life, and then what are you bumping out?
Oh, that's a good question. It's not a cheesy question at all. I think it's a great question. I think bumping out fake friends
For sure.
for sure.
That's the theme.
really?
Everyone's been saying that, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like this year I finally found like the most genuine people. It's because I've lived here for so long. I didn't grow up in LA, but it is a bit tricky growing up here and finding friends.
For sure.
So I think now I have like my really good friend group, which is so awesome. I guess just for me right now, because I am so busy, but I also love to live a normal life at the same time, I'm just trying to bump in more just like normalcy, you know, and just like spending time with friends and going to the beach and just like sitting on my couch for hours.
I love that. We could all learn from that.
Totally.
Yeah,
Adding some
I keep telling
normalcy.
myself to stop scheduling things in my calendar because I need time to just chill on my couch.
For sure.
Or go to the beach. I don't remember the last time I was at the
Yeah.
beach. And we live, like you literally just said, like 10 minutes away from
For
the
sure.
beach.
And sometimes it's like hard to even think like, what can I do to be present right now? Like we're always thinking about the next thing. So like, what hit you to like decide I want to be a little bit chiller? I want to go to the beach. I want to surf. Like what's brought you into that headspace?
Yeah, I think I'm always, like you said, like worried about the next thing.
Yeah.
Like my calendar just stresses me out so much. And I think now I've just been trying to worry about it when the time comes and just be so grateful that we get to live, especially in California. Like it's so awesome here. And I've just been trying to take more time for myself because I'm just always worried about other people. I am a very much people pleaser. So I'm trying to take some time to myself. as
I
well.
love it. Cheers to that. We're all people pleasers.
Yeah.
Here.
It's hard
Working.
sometimes.
You're preaching to the choir.
Yeah.
Okay, so you touched on a little bit of the fact that you have been in LA for that long of your life. Can you tell everyone that's listening where you grew up and then what brought you here?
Yeah, so I grew up in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, very different than here. And I danced my whole life. I grew up competing and even just dancing when I was 2 years old. So I've been doing it for a while. And we ended up being on a reality TV show. Honestly, I have no idea how this happened, but Lifetime basically like circled around a bunch of studios on the East Coast because that's where the crazy moms are. And so, yeah, we ended up getting the reality show, and it's called Dance Moms, and we traveled everywhere. I also got kicked out of school because I missed so many days of school.
Just from dance? Or
Just from dance and
the
filming
show.
the show, because we would travel on Fridays. So I had every Friday off of
Right.
school. And so they were like, we literally can't have you in school anymore. So then I was homeschooled. And so at that point, since we were all homeschooled, we moved to LA to continue filming the show because it was like, now we're dancing, but we want to do more.
Right.
And so, yeah, we moved here temporarily when I was 10 or 11. And then after that, my sister started doing a lot of stuff with Sia. So then we kind of just moved out here, and that's where I was like, oh, now I have a chance to do music and like what I really love doing. So
Has music always been a passion of yours aside from dance or singing? And
yes, absolutely.
arts.
Ever since I was little, I would just sing around the house constantly. And my mom put me in vocal lessons when I was like 5. I just loved it so much. I loved dance, but it was just like something fun for me. I wanted to dance with my friends and just be in that environment. But I never was a competitive person growing up, and I'm not a competitive person. So it was nice to have something else that I could focus on and also differentiate my sister and I's career paths, because we wanted to do separate things, but we were stuck in this box because we were doing the same thing, you know?
how did you eventually break out of that box and say, I want to be genuine and authentic to who I am and what I love? Like when did that happen?
Yeah, so we left the show around when I was 12 years old, and the show didn't end at that point, but we were just so over it because it was great, but there was just a lot of pressure, and it made dance kind of not fun after a while, competing every single week. And the dance community is just so brutal for anyone on TV or not. It is just so insane. And I think we both were just like, we want to do our own thing. Yeah. So yeah, around when we were 12, or when I was 12 and my sister was, I think, 14 at the time, we kind of broke out of that, and I started doing more vocal lessons. I started making music, and I would go to Nashville and like write music when I was 14. It's so weird to think about. I feel like I've lived so many lives, but yeah.
I love. Do you still dance?
I do. I've been trying to do it more now than before. I lost my love for dance really early on.
Yeah.
But I have done like some things that involve dance. Like I did randomly Dancing with the Stars Juniors so that's where I like,
no idea.
yeah. And that's where I like found my love for dance again. And then I did The Masked Dancer later on.
Wow.
And that's where I was like, oh, I can actually just do this for fun. It doesn't need to be so much pressure. Yeah. So now I just dance by myself in a studio when I can, and sometimes with Sophia, your sister, which is so nice.
Well, you're also like not confined to it anymore.
Of course.
Right.
Like it's like you said, like you're bringing it back for the pleasure that you had within yourself.
Totally.
But more so now focusing on your music. And I wanted to know what inspired you at a very young age that you wanted to go into singing? Like, was there an artist that you maybe like looked up to, or a song that like struck a chord?
Every time I tell someone this, they laugh, but I grew up watching Disney Channel religiously and like just Disney movies. Like my mom, that's all we watched. And so when I watched Hannah Montana, I was like, that's what I want to be. I want to be a pop star.
Oh Oh my god.
She did that to all of us, but you're
Right?
actually a pop star, so the rest of us were like,
There's always time.
yeah, this isn't happening.
Well, if you could have have you thought of if you had another side or another name to you, what it would be?
I actually never think of that.
Really?
When I was younger, when I was on the show, I had a song out. I don't know if Soph has played it for you because it's so embarrassing. She plays it for me all the time. But when I was 8, I released a song and it was called Girl Party. And my name was
It's so cute.
no, it's very wholesome and it's adorable, but it's so embarrassing nowadays because it really did blow up. Which I was just,
released?
yeah.
Like a real song.
Like it's on the internet, sadly. But my name was Maxie.
Maxie. That's really cute.
Oh, all right.
But now I'm like, that is just, I didn't make it. I have no idea who made that name.
Well, your full name is Mackenzie.
Yes.
Do people still call you Mackenzie?
No.
No, just Kenz or Kenzie.
Yeah.
Interesting. I'm gonna start calling you Maxie.
Maxie.
Only the real ones know Maxie.
That's true. That's true.
Oh my gosh. Okay, well, so going back, because now you're this full-blown artist, I'm just going to say, dancing, singing. Did you ever feel like maybe when you were younger, you compared yourself a lot to your sister, and that's what made you kind of want to flourish and find this new thing so that you'd be your own identity type of thing?
Yes, for sure. I mean, when we were dancing together, we were constantly being compared because I was the younger one and she was the best one at our studio, which rightfully so. She is amazing and she really made dance her life. I did not. But yeah, I was constantly being compared to her, and if I didn't, succeed the expectations of being as good as her, I think it was really hard for me growing up because I just wanted to be myself. And still to this day, I get compared to her all the time because we are so close in age. We're only 20 months apart. Wow. And
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, we're so close in age.
Wow.
And
Back to back.
yeah, I know. My mom.
Think about that.
Damn,
Mom.
it's crazy. It's so insane. But yeah, we just still to this day we get compared because we are in the same situation basically. But I think when we did leave the show, I was like, this is my start to kind of creating my own identity. And I think it has taken me a really long time for people to kind of take me seriously in the music industry just because I came from that and because I am Maddie's little sister. But I think now it's really awesome because people can, now that we do such different things, it's like, oh, this is Maddie and this is Kenzie. Right. And it's great. And we're very supportive, which is also really helpful. We've never really taken the comparisons to heart.
Sure.
So
That's good. Mm-hmm. Have you guys always stayed really close? How often do you guys talk to each other, see each other?
When we were younger, we hated each other because...
well, that's common.
Yeah. I mean, we also spent 24/7 together. Right. We shared a room when we first moved to LA. It was just brutal. But the second she moved out, I really missed her and we missed each other. And we were like, oh, we're actually just really close friends. So we hang out so often. We talk all the time. Even when we're both traveling and so busy, we always make time for each other. She really is my best friend.
Aww.
Yeah.
That's really important.
That is important. That's the dream. I feel like for a mom to have 2 daughters, you just want them to be best friends. Your mom happy to see that?
Oh, for sure. When we were younger, she was like, you're going to grow
up
and you're going to love each other. And she would cry. And now I think she's very appreciative. And we also love our mom so much. So it's always a girl party. It's always a girl party together, but literally.
Always a girl.
Just play it.
Please, your ears will bleed.
Damn. Well, going back now to singing, is there an artist that you compare yourself to?
Oh, there's so many. Not in a bad way or a good way. I feel like because I'm in the age range of a lot of newer artists that are kind of upcoming, up and coming. I mean, Olivia Rodrigo is not up and coming. She's like so insanely huge. But I feel like because we're so young and we kind of make similar music, like I always kind of compare myself to Olivia, or even because Billie Eilish grew up kind of doing music in the same age as I did. And so I always look up to her in that way because she just did it so gracefully. And I feel like she's always herself and she's so authentic, and the music she shares is so personal, and I really admire that. So I don't think it's ever like a bad comparison. I always just try to think of how they did their career, and they all did it right. So.
Yeah. Do you write your own songs?
Mm-hmm.
You do?
Yeah.
And where do you draw inspiration from for that?
Usually just from my life, mainly. My album that's coming out next month every song is about a situation that I went through. And it's like so personal. It's really scary to put out. But at the same time, I feel like if people can relate to my music, that's like all I really want. So
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
That's so inspiring.
Thank
I'm so
you.
excited to hear it. What's
Thank
the album
you.
called?
It's called Biting My Tongue.
Biting My Tongue.
It's like your tattoo.
Yeah. I got it the day after we wrote the song. So yeah.
Is that your favorite song on the album?
Yeah. I love that song very
What's
much.
it about?
It's about fake friends.
Fake friends.
Yeah.
Really? Mm-hmm. And you bite your tongue how?
I think, well, so in this song, the situation was basically, I was friends with this friend group of girls, and they were always so put together, and they always just expected me to be just like them. I called them my Barbie friends for a really long time because they're just like picture perfect, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just not that girl. Like, I'm not always full makeup, hair, and outfit. Like, I just love to just do nothing and hang with my friends. And so I felt like I was just not being myself. And there were a lot of things that I just didn't talk about with them because I didn't feel like they would get it.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like, I'm just not gonna say anything because I feel like my thoughts don't like matter in that group, which I think happens a lot with people, where in friend groups or even just like a friend, you feel like you can't be your full self. And I think that's just really wrong. Right. And you should just get out of that, because there's definitely someone out there that will 100% love you and be your friend no matter what. So
that,
oh my God,
that hit my core. No, I've done that so many times in my life, and like I've never thought, like I always like refer to biting my tongue on like, oh, I don't want to like say something wrong, versus like holding myself back to being my full self in front of people that you consider your friends. So that's really deep.
That is really deep.
Wow. Can we talk about my favorite song of yours?
Yeah. I don't know what it is.
Anatomy.
Thank you.
I love that song, and when I first heard it, I bawled my eyes out.
I remember that.
And then I played it in the car for Noah like 20 million times, like on repeat.
Oh.
So I'm not sure if you're comfortable talking about it, but I mean, it was hard for me to listen to the first time, so I can only imagine how hard it was for you to write it and share those emotions.
Yeah, no, Anatomy was a very hard song to write about. It's about me growing up without my father being present. And luckily I have an amazing stepdad. He's so great. I think you've met Greg so many times. He's so awesome, and has definitely like filled the gap, and has also like given me a sense of like, oh, some men are great in the world. But yeah, I grew up without my father, and it was really hard on me because I was always a daddy's girl growing up. And I never really told him how I felt about it. He just would call me and then like wouldn't call me for like 2 years. And it's just like the most insane, frustrating feeling. And every time we would talk, it would just be like, oh, everything's fine. And I just would cry every time we would talk on the phone. So I ended up starting therapy when I was 18 years old, like right when I turned 18. And I would always make jokes about how I grew up without a dad, because it's just like funny, like, oh, I have daddy issues. And then I started talking about it with my therapist, and she was like, oh, this actually like hits you way harder than you thought.
You
Which I
actually
think-
have daddy issues.
Yeah, like you literally have daddy issues, which is so common, by the way. But
Sure.
so that's okay, like to talk about it. But yeah, she wanted me to write a letter to my dad and then just get rid of it for like homework. And I just was like, I don't really want to do that. So I ended up just writing a song for that purpose, just to kind of get my feelings out. I wrote it with like my 2 girl best friends. They make music and help me write all my music. But we did it at like 3 a.m. and
Wow.
wrote it in like an hour, and a lot of crying and a lot of, there was so many mixed emotions. And then I sent it to her and I was like, here's my letter. And then I ended up playing it for a lot of people, and they were like, you have to put this out because there's so many people in the world that go through this and it's not normalized enough.
Yeah.
For sure.
Like it is just like a joke most of the time, but it's like, no, this is actually like really hard to grow up without a
Right.
parent being involved. And yeah, so that's why I put it out. And I was so scared to put it out, but the feedback I got from everyone, it kind of made me feel less alone, and it was just like helpful all around, I feel like.
It's like you were able to turn something so dark, so empty into like gold and medicine for so many people. Like that's so inspiring.
Thank you.
I love when people can, take the pain and kind of flip it and give it out to the world for something good.
Yeah. Thank you.
I'm sorry you had to go through that.
It is okay. I'm so glad that I have like the people
Yeah.
surrounding me. Because yeah, I just feel like that's important, just to have people in your life that mean more
Sure.
than that, because it's like, we're all worth so much.
Have
Yeah.
you felt like that creative process has been really healing to you? Like releasing that song, putting it out there? Like what would you tell, I guess, your younger self post releasing this song? Like what was the impact it had on you?
Yeah, it impacted my life so much. I didn't think I would ever feel at peace with it.
Yeah.
But I think I would tell my younger self that everything is going to be okay and you're going to be so happy, and you're not even going to think about how you don't have this person in your life.
Right.
Because like I said, I have an awesome stepdad and he just like fills so much. And so I'm just like, I'm the luckiest girl in the world, really.
I love it.
Yeah.
It probably felt like such a huge release also. Like just like taking this like full blown army suit off. And
Yeah.
like, with your emotions. Do you take that approach with other songs? Like do you write a letter to yourself and then it turns into a song?
Yeah, most of the time. They all are kind of therapy sessions for me. I just, like, the second something happens in my life, I go in the studio and just write about it. And then I'm like, okay, I'm good. Like,
Wow.
that's usually what happens. And it turns into a really beautiful thing for me because I feel so much better.
Yeah. Damn. Do you ever, I've always wanted to ask an artist this. Do you ever listen to your songs? Like, for
Yes. Well, not like, usually not the ones that are out, but when I write a song, I will listen to it on repeat for weeks just because I'm so critical. And sometimes I want to go back and re-record something or change a lyric or something random. But when I'm like obsessed with one of my songs, when I'm like, oh, this is like my favorite song I've ever done, I will listen to it all the time. And then it gets like overplayed, and then it's like, okay, I need to stop listening
Yeah.
to it.
And then you have to go and perform it.
Yeah.
Over and over and over again.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you enjoy performing, and how often do you go out there?
I used to hate performing, actually. I would get so nervous because coming from competing on stage every weekend and then being scared you're going to get killed after you came off was just really terrifying for me. Just being on a stage in general, like when I did the thing for USC with Soph, I had a full panic attack, like staring at the stage before we went on, because I was like, I can't, like, this is actually the scariest thing of my life, and we were just doing it at USC. Like,
Are you serious? Like, okay, now take someone who's been on stage. You've been on stage like your whole life since you were 2 years old.
Yeah.
And you still get the jitters.
so scary. But I have been really enjoying it recently. I think it just takes confidence over time, and my biggest fear is singing and then it like, I don't know, like me hitting a wrong note or like someone filming something and then it going on the internet and then being like, she's a terrible singer. Like that scares me so much. But I have been performing a lot recently and I probably will be going on tour at the end of the year. So, I know, but I really love it. I really love it. It's taken some time. Like the last 3 performances I've had have been the ones that I've like really enjoyed.
Oh my God.
What have you enjoyed about it so much?
I think the reaction of it all, I think, especially with Anatomy being out, a lot of people didn't know that that was my song, which was cool. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I thought it was kind of cool though, because it was like, oh, this is her? Like, I didn't know.
I have those moments sometimes with artists where I was like, oh my God, that's your song?
Yeah.
Huh.
It feels kind of good in a way. But I think also having all of my friends and family there and just being able to like live out my pop star dream is just so insane. So
It's Maxi, guys.
yeah, it's Maxi, guys.
Wow. I wanted to know, like, okay, because like now you've done a few performances and you're getting a little bit more comfortable. Like, do you have like a little ritual that you do before you go on stage so you don't get nervous?
Ooh, usually I have to be alone for the last 10 minutes before I go on stage because everyone just wants to talk and just wants to take pictures. And I'm just like, no, I need to like sit by myself and just calm down because I have really bad anxiety. And when I used to go on stage, I would actually just black out while I would perform because I would just get so scared that my brain would just block it out, which is so weird how your brain is so strong. But my other ritual, I guess, my mom, she's at every performance that I do. And she's like stage mom. Yeah. Good mom. And she makes me this tea every time before I go on stage. And it kind of is very comforting.
What's the tea?
It's throat coat tea.
Ooh, I need that right now.
Oh yeah. It's the best tea. And then with honey and ginger, it's so delicious. Wow. But it just like coats your throat really nice before you go on stage.
Okay, going back, because you mentioned how amazing Greg, your stepdad, is. Mm-hmm. Do you ever go back and compare men or new relationships in your life to these father figures that you've had growing up?
Yes, absolutely, all the time. And I didn't realize that I was doing that when I was growing up. I would look for men like my dad to kind of fill that void, which is just so crazy that I did it without even thinking, but a lot of them had a lot of resemblance to my dad, as in like the way that they would talk and their like mannerisms, like what they would say, how they would speak, how, you know, it was just, and the way they would treat women. I feel like I felt that's the only men that I really deserved, which is really sad. And I think a lot of girls do it. But now that I have someone to look up to like Greg, I now look for people that act like him because he is just so great and he treats my mom so well and treats everyone with respect. But I think I've learned to kind of let that go with my situation with my dad because I'm not going to find a great man out of that and I really can't change anyone.
Right. Yeah.
So
what are your top like 3 attributes when you look for in a relationship?
Ooh.
It could be a friendship, or it could be a relationship.
I think I always look for someone in a friendship, especially someone that's very down to earth. It's very hard to find, but I think I found those people. And I also think someone that is just very down for anything also, and just very caring. Yeah. I just try to look for the best things in people. I also give a lot of people the benefit of the doubt, but I just try to find people that will actually bring something great to my life and not kind of make me go lower.
Yeah.
Right. It's like I bring up this book all the time, but it's so good and you have to read it. I don't know if
I love books. Yes.
You love. Okay.
Yeah, you're like in your book era.
I'm in my book.
Oh, really?
I need book recs, please.
Read, and I recommended this to our last guest. You have to read The Energy Bus.
Ooh.
Talks about all like relationships also. A little part of it, I'm not going to spoil it, is about energy vampires and people who just like rip the life out of you, like rip at your spirit, who just are toxic. And so like recognizing those people and then eliminating them is just such a great thing for you in your life.
Oh, I'm so excited.
Yeah,
I
you
need to
gotta
read that.
it. Yeah, for sure.
Amazing.
It's a good one.
I feel like every page of that book I'll be like, oh,
No,
man.
it's like a fable. It's like a tale, but in it is so many beautiful lessons, and just a lot of what you said just reminded me of that book.
That's
You're gonna
amazing.
have to read it.
I have to. I feel like I'm going to be like, oh, this person does that.
Yeah.
Maybe I should cut them out.
Yikes.
How would you say that social media has played a role for you in your industry in comparison? Because I feel like you're not just focusing on your craft and the art that you love, but you're also focusing now on your Instagram and how you're perceived to the world through that lens. And do you ever compare yourself on Instagram to other people in the industry or just in general? I feel like we all do, but in your space, I'm sure it's huge.
Yes, absolutely. I think ever since I got Instagram, I've just constantly compared myself to other people because Instagram is, or any social media other than TikTok, I feel like TikTok, you can be kind of more raw and
Which is interesting.
say whatever, which is sometimes can be a little too much, but I think it's just such a highlight reel.
Yeah.
And so everything you're seeing on Instagram, especially, everyone looks their best and looks like they're having a great time. Like, it's a highlight reel. So I am constantly comparing myself to like my partner's ex-significant others or similar people in the industry or just random someone that's doing cooler things. Like I'm just constantly trying to be someone that I'm not and comparing myself to people that I will just never be. Yeah. And I think no matter who you are, even if you're a young girl, if you're my mom, if you're anyone, I feel like that's why social media is so toxic, because we always look at these people and just think that we need to be exactly like them.
Right.
And I just think it's so wrong. Like, I love the Kardashians so very much. And they're like so...
Huge fan.
Like, literally huge fan. I watch their show religiously and I...
Ritualistic,
love
every
them
Thursday,
so
right?
much.
Is it?
Yeah. Yeah, and everything they do, I just love. But I think that's the beauty standard nowadays.
Right.
And it's sad because I think everyone is so beautiful in their own way. Like, I see my friends comparing themselves to Kylie Jenner, and I'm just like, that's just not... Right. Like, it shouldn't be the beauty standard. She's absolutely stunning, but I think having that mindset with social media is just so toxic, and I'm also a victim of it too. Like, I do it so much. So,
what are some ways, I mean, you touched on this a little bit with reminding yourself to be more present, doing the things that you love to do, but like, how do you get out of that like toxic mentality when you start comparing and like scrolling and thinking all those negative thoughts? Like, what snaps you out of it?
I sometimes try to just delete social media for like a week. It is very helpful.
I'm yet to try that. Everyone's been saying it.
It is so awesome. It is so, you feel like a different person. It's such an addiction. It's so strange. But I don't charge my phone. Like, I just don't charge my phone. I'm so bad. But now I really love when my phone dies. I just love when my phone dies.
That's
and I
why
can just...
you don't answer me for a bit.
I'm so bad. No, I swear I like forget to plug my phone in every night, and everyone's like, you're such a bad texter. And I'm like, no, I just let my phone die, and I'm just like, okay, the whole day I'm not going to talk to anyone. Usually I'm with someone that can text my mom if they need to. And I think it's very healthy to like leave your phone and just, obviously not while you're alone, because that's very scary, but
for sure,
just leave your phone and don't check it.
Yeah, no, just be present.
Yeah.
In all the moments I've left my phone or forgotten it, which is very slim because that doesn't happen. You always remember your phone. I've always, like, I remember those days so much clearer than the days I have my phone.
Yeah.
Like, I was traveling with my family and I forgot my phone at the hotel, and we were just roaming the city and I didn't have my phone. and I had the best time. I was so present. I don't know why that is, but
I love it. I mean, I have that mentality with big events like weddings, birthdays, any like sort of gathering where I'm supposed to be there celebrating someone. Like I fully put my phone in my bag and I don't touch it. Like I'll take a picture when I'm there to just like remember the setting that I was in. But then my phone goes in my bag and it's the greatest hack ever.
Yeah, totally. I've been doing that more often, just putting my phone in my purse and just doing whatever without it.
Yeah. No, it's so important. It's a reminder that we all need, especially now with everything getting more and more tech.
we were talking about this topic of like how today we're all just so available to everyone and like we're just expected to respond. And like that wasn't the case back then. Like people left a voice message or like a voicemail and then you'd return the call maybe the next day. And like today it's just this pressure to respond right away. So like, yeah, I'm the same way. I'm so bad with texts, but I think it's because of that. Like I don't know what the pressure's all about.
It's true. It's true. I feel like a lot of the times when I don't answer someone's call, they're like, "You hate me." I'm like, "No."
Or like I literally, my phone died.
Yeah. Just don't have my phone.
Right.
No, but it's normal to like get in your head and like come up with all these different excuses of like, oh, this person doesn't like me, or like,
right.
oh, this person doesn't even want to see me or talk to me.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
I think just going back to the social media part, but also comparisons, what would you say to your fans and just your community that, you know, looks up to you about comparisons, and what should they stay away from? What should they, you know, kind of like tell themselves a bit more? I feel like so many young girls look up to you and a bunch of artists and just want to feel like they're kind of following in your footsteps in some ways. And while that's beautiful, I feel like people lose their individuality through that. So like, what would you tell them like to do or not to do?
Yeah, I think it kind of goes back to what I was saying, where everything on social media looks better than it is.
Right.
And I think try to remember that someone could be looking so amazing and perfect on social media, but really they could be going through a really, really hard time.
It's true.
And I think a lot of people forget that a lot of influencers or celebrities or whatever you want to call them, they are normal people as well as everyone else.
Right.
Preach.
Yeah, I think that's like the big misconception with social media is we're all just normal people and we're all in the same category. It's like no one is a god, no one is better than the other. We are all so similar in so many ways. And I think a lot of the times, you know, because I have a following on social media, people forget that I am a normal person. And so when I talk about struggles that I'm going through, or even like when I released Anatomy, it was like, this girl is famous, so she doesn't, this is all bullshit. And it's like, no, I am just as much a normal person as you are. We're all the same.
Right.
So
it's crazy how people perceive those who have a following or who have fame to be like, oh, immune to problems.
Yeah.
Like that's not the case. And more times than not, I feel like the people who've gotten to this place have gotten there for a reason with like so much. You just had, I'm sure like all the things that happened in your life just pushed you to want to shoot for the places you've gotten to and beyond. But like, I don't know. We're not all, there's not a certain person that's immune to bumps.
for sure. For sure.
Yeah,
and I think a lot of the times the people that are so big in the industry go through a lot more than people think because of how
Everything's in the public eye now.
Of course. And how hard it is to be where they are. I mean, there is so much that comes with it, with social media, with career, with other people being compared to them. Like there's just so much that comes with it. So I think that, you know, no matter how big or small, like everyone is going through something.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But it's also so real. Like to put all these people that we follow on social media on pedestals. And I think that's
Yeah.
why we're so quick to say like, oh, they have it well. Like they're always looking 10 out of 10 and they have a team behind them. But just to piggyback what you said, like doesn't mean just because they look good on the outside that they feel good on the inside.
Totally.
So, and I think that's the beauty of what we're doing here on Bumpers is
Yeah.
that we are embracing the bumps and we aren't here to normalize everybody that you put on these pedestals. And, you know, we are all human in the end. So
Totally.
And we're all like, you know, we're so used to sharing our good times. And like it's not so easy to kind of bond over the bad shit that happens to us. And
Right.
so like maybe this is like a new social media platform that we're just making people want to share the bumps and the shittier parts of their life, because ultimately that's beautiful too.
Of course.
And I just appreciate you kind of being vulnerable with
Thank
us
you.
and diving into all of that, because it's important to hear for me too, but like for the community.
yeah.
And yeah,
Cheers to our bumps, guys.
Cheers.
Yeah, we love our bumps.
I love it.
Well, thanks, Ken.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
We love
You're
you.
the best. We really appreciate it.
I love you guys.
Love you.
So fun.